everyone, this is my 8th video journal entry for digital literacies. This is a continuation of journal number 7 because I accidentally read ahead the last time we had class. So this is going to be a shorter one. I'm just going to try to bring some of my ideas together from last time, kind of reflect on them a little bit since we've had all of this change. So the articles that we had talked a lot about accessibility, having to deal with the deaf community, having to deal with different populations in the U.S., such as the Native American populations and how they deal with accommodations, as well through language and online spaces. And we're seeing this all really come into fruition the last couple weeks when we were all forced to go online, all forced to be out of our jobs, especially, well, in academia. Now in a lot of other jobs, they're having to go online. And it changes a lot of things. Because as I was talking last week, with Butler's, or the last time we had this, with Butler's piece, her piece focused a lot on accessibility and how we need to build that into the content all the time and not just retrofit it. And we're seeing a lot of that issue now where we're having to retrofit every online and trying to make things accessible when things aren't accessible for students that have had to go back to rural areas, don't have good internet access, don't have good bandwidth, so they can't do things like video conferencing. We're having to figure out all these issues because as a society, we haven't been wanting to figure out these as a whole beforehand, because they're like bleeding heart issues, like getting good internet access into rural areas now is showing to be a real issue. And it shows how retrofitting it is really making everybody like pull out their hair. And Butler specifically, like the bottom of 287 in her article and 288, really talks about the detriment of retrofitting, like the differences between closed captioning and integral captioning, so captioning that is just on for everybody all the time, and like we're only going to, in closed captioning, like we're only going to make it accessible if we need it to be accessible type of thing, so turning on and off. And we should be making it as accessible as we can on the daily basis, and it's hard because it's seen as extra labor, but we need to get through that extra labor in order to see it not as extra labor. Like if we integrated it more, it would just be seen as one of the things that we need to do instead of this extra process. And it is this extra process right now because we're not used to doing it, and it's not put in all the time. We're seeing that with a lot of the transition to online courses, because we're having to retrofit and really I think what is interesting, and I'm still trying to think through different ways of because there's been the big discussion about how you should be doing more teaching now because of student stress and different things, of doing discussion board posts and less assignments, and not trying to do any in-person communication, not trying to do any video conferencing, trying to shy away from that. I think that oversimplifies the issues. I understand that we have bandwidth issues and different things like that, and some professors are doing a really good job of saying, okay, yes, I know we don't all have good access, but we still need to try to at least communicate with one another, and see each other and hear each other for our health. Mental health, I think, is gonna become a a major discussion in how COVID-19 actions are researched afterwards, of how we're dealing with students' mental health, how we're trying to put that into how online classes are formed, especially classes that were forced to go online, where they're more like just we're trying to retrofit it and put it all online. I'm really trying to see how that balances with students' mental health. And it's hard because not everything is conducive to everybody, but we need to, I think, have that multi-layered, like multimodal space where students can choose to do discussion if they want to. They can choose to, if there's a couple students out of the class that want to get together and chat, you can make that available, where it's like, hey, do you want to get together and chat about and have a discussion about ideas? Cool, then let's do it. Or if there's some students that are good with doing just discussion boards, that's fine, but we shouldn't just say, oh, because of this, we're going to make all of the students all do that. Because that's not healthy either. And that goes along with our societal pedagogy with mental health, where it's like, we're going to push it back, keep on pushing it back, and not giving it the help that it needs. And I think we really need to be focusing on that when we do integration, and really trying to think about mental health as we're continuing, and focusing on the needs of differentiating groups within the people with disabilities community, not only the ones that we see all the time, the physical disabilities like deafness and blindness, and thinking more critically about putting mental health and those things into ingraining them into classes. And maybe I think I'd maybe like to focus on that on my course redesign. Try to focus on health and mental health and how we can bring that in to help students. So I'm going to end this there. Again, I get more into depth into the other articles with my last week's discussion. I don't want this to go on too much longer, so I'm going to cut this off for this week. I'll see you next week. Hope everybody is safe at home and trying their best to ride this wave that everybody is right now. So have a good week, everyone. Bye.